Have you ever sincerely helped someone only to be met with indifference or even worse, outright disrespect? You hold the door open, yet the person walks by without even a nod. You try to assist a colleague, but instead of gratitude, you receive a sarcastic remark. In such moments, you can't help but wonder, did I do something wrong? Is it even worth being kind? The issue isn't kindness itself, but rather how, when, and to whom it is shown. Stoic philosophy teaches that kindness is not a sign of weakness, but a manifestation of inner strength. However, kindness without wisdom and boundaries turns into vulnerability that others can easily exploit. This presentation is not just about kindness. It's about transforming it into a powerful force that reflects your self-esteem and values. We will explore the lessons of Stoic philosophy and learn how to express kindness in a way that earns respect instead of being taken for granted. Why does your kindness sometimes backfire? Have you ever sincerely helped someone only to receive nothing but indifference or, even worse, blatant disrespect? You hold the door open, yet the person barely acknowledges you. You try to assist a colleague, but instead of receiving gratitude, you are met with a biting comment. In such moments, you wonder, did I do something wrong? Is it even worth being kind? Kindness is a virtue that the greatest minds in history have valued. Yet, as Stoic philosophy teaches, kindness can not only be unhelpful but can also turn against the one who shows it. People begin to take your help for granted, losing respect for it. And if you ever refuse to help, you might face disappointment or even condemnation instead of understanding. Imagine a man named John. His kind-hearted nature shows when, for instance, a friend forgets his keys, and he sacrifices his evening to bring a spare set, or when a neighbor's gate breaks and John puts aside all his tasks to help fix it. At first, people are genuinely grateful for his assistance, but over time his kindness becomes ordinary. His involvement no longer inspires admiration. It is simply expected. And then one day, when John is too busy to fulfill another request, he is met not with understanding but with criticism. How come? You always helped before. In that moment, John realizes that his kindness is no longer appreciated. He feels exploited and wonders if anyone will ever value his efforts. When kindness without limits ceases to be a virtue, it's a situation many of us have encountered. We help out of our best intentions, only to receive cold indifference or even dissatisfaction. Why does this happen? The Stoics explain that the problem isn't kindness itself, but rather how and to whom we extend it. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul is dyed by the color of its thoughts." If your kindness stems from a desire to please or from a fear of rejection, it becomes tinted with dependency. You stop being a generous person and instead become someone whose boundaries can be easily crossed. When founded on self-awareness and respect for oneself, kindness becomes a powerful force rather than a weakness. How can you express kindness while preserving your dignity? Act kindly with intention rather than out of habit. Ask yourself, why am I helping this person? Is it a genuine act of kindness or merely a fear of being rejected? Do not let kindness become an obligation. Help should be voluntary, not forced. Learn to say no. It is not a sign of selfishness, but an expression of self-respect. Assess the reactions of others. Those who truly appreciate your kindness will be grateful for it. And if someone takes it for granted, is it really worth helping them? Stoic philosophy teaches us that boundless kindness leads to exploitation, whereas kindness with well-defined limits commands respect. Give generously, but do not allow your kindness to become a resource that can be endlessly consumed. Why are kind people not valued? Have you noticed that the more you are willing to lend a shoulder, listen, and support, the more you are taken advantage of? As if your kindness is not a gift, but something to be assumed? This is a paradox that many face. One might think that if you are a good person, if you are open and caring, you should receive the same in return. Yet, in reality, things turn out differently. Why does this happen? Why are kind people not only unappreciated, but even exploited? The habit of always doing good diminishes its value. It's worth considering whether we appreciate things that come easily without effort. When the sun shines every day, we hardly think about its importance. When someone constantly supports us, we cease to see it as something special. People get used to goodness just as they get used to comfort. If someone is always around, always ready to help, their presence becomes background, a matter taken for granted. Remember, the less noticed it is, not because the world is unjust, but because human nature is that way. Consider the story of Anna, a time when kindness stopped being noticed. Anna is a caring and responsive friend who is always there when someone needs help. She's ready to comfort, listen, and advise. If someone forgets a birthday, Anna organizes a surprise. If someone needs help moving, Anna is the first to show up with boxes. Yet, strangely enough, the more she does for others, the less they notice it. They no longer thank her as they once did. Moreover, when Anna herself once found herself in a difficult situation and asked for help, she was met with indifference. "Oh, sorry, I'm busy." Those she had once helped turned their backs. This moment became a revelation for Anna. Her kindness was seen as normal rather than something valuable. Why does this happen? People adapt to everything. The more they receive without effort, the less they value it. Some see kind people as convenient. If you never say no, people start to see you not as an individual, but as a resource, and their demands grow. If you always help, people begin to assume that's just how things should be. Boundless kindness turns into weakness. If you don't set boundaries, others will cease to respect you. How can you change the situation and maintain respect? Value yourself as much as you value others. If you don't respect your own time and resources, do not expect others to do so. Learn to say no because kindness should be a conscious choice, not an obligation. Don't give more than people are willing to appreciate. If your help isn't seen as valuable, it means you need to measure it out. Surround yourself with grateful people. If your environment consists only of those who take without giving back, perhaps it's time to make a change. The Stoics teach us that true kindness is not endless self-sacrifice, but the wise distribution of one's resources. However, do not let others turn your generosity into something taken for granted. Why do people take advantage of kind individuals? Have you noticed that the more you try to help, the more you are exploited, as if your kindness is not a virtue but a resource that can be endlessly used? You come to the rescue when asked, lend a shoulder when someone is down, give your last bit, and instead of gratitude, you get more demands, as if you owe it to them. But why does this happen? Why are kind people not only unappreciated but also exploited? People are always looking for the easy way out. It's not a matter of morality or ill intent. It's human nature. Most people will take advantage of kindness that is given freely and effortlessly. Have you ever noticed how colleagues ask the friendliest coworker to cover for them or take on extra work? In a family, one person might do everything while others take it for granted. The Stoics said, "A person is inclined to go where there is less resistance." If you don't set boundaries, people will start to see you as the convenient one who is always there to lend a hand, not because they are bad people, but because it's easier for them. Consider the story of Ivan, kindness without limits. Ivan was the life of the party, always ready to help friends, listen, and solve others' problems. He lent money, helped his colleagues, and took on other people's responsibilities. But one day, he noticed something strange. As soon as he said no to one of his friends, that friend simply disappeared, as if their friendship was maintained not by mutual understanding, but by the convenience of having Ivan around. This made him wonder, do the people around him truly value him as a person, or merely as a resource? Kind people are exploited if they never say no. When someone always agrees, others stop asking whether it's convenient for them, and you end up taking on everyone else's problems. People get used to having everything done for them and stop making any effort. You try too hard to please everyone. If you're afraid to refuse so as not to spoil relationships, people start to see you as someone who will always accommodate them without expecting anything in return. When help becomes one-sided, people cease to see it as valuable. They test boundaries. If you agreed to one unreasonable request, next time they'll ask for even more. How can you protect yourself while remaining a kind person? Learn to say no. It is not rudeness, it's protecting your resources. If someone truly values you, they will accept your refusal with respect. Evaluate whether your relationships are reciprocal or one-sided. If you're always giving and only receiving more demands, it's time to reconsider your circle. Act with intention. Help those who genuinely need it, not those who have simply become accustomed to your kindness. Sometimes you fear losing people who only need your help. If a friendship or relationship is built on the premise that you are always the one giving, it is not a genuine connection. Be kind, but be firm. Kindness is a conscious choice, not an obligation to be everyone's savior. As the saying goes, you don't have to burn yourself out so that others may feel warm. Do good, but don't let others take advantage of you. How can kindness ruin your life? Kindness is undoubtedly a valuable quality. We admire kind people for their willingness to help, and we strive to be like them. But sometimes, kindness can lead to pain, hurt, and even a ruined life. How does it happen that the desire to help turns into pain? Why are kind people deceived, exploited, and betrayed? Today we will examine the 4 main mistakes that kind people often make, which can ultimately break their destiny. You put others' interests before your own. The desire to help is wonderful. But what happens if you start living other people's problems, solving their issues, sacrificing your time and resources, and forgetting about yourself? Think of how many times you've postponed your own plans for the sake of others, skipped rest, worked overtime, or lost sleep because someone asked for help. The Stoics said, "He who forgets himself for others in the end loses both himself and them." If you constantly give without receiving anything in return, it's not kindness, it's self-destruction. Learn to ask yourself, is this truly my responsibility? Take care of yourself as much as you care for others. You're afraid to say no, and people quickly come to expect that you are always ready to help. The more you agree, the more they turn to you, and before you know it, your boundaries are erased and your refusal is seen as unacceptable. Often, kind people agree out of fear of being judged, losing a friendship, or losing respect. But once you say no, even once, you'll see that many people simply disappear. As Marcus Aurelius said, "A refusal is not cruelty. It is the realization that you cannot help everyone." How can you fix this? Start small, be a bit inconvenient, and observe how others react. Those who truly value you will remain. You attract toxic people. If you are kind, sincere, and ready to help, not only good people but also those looking to take advantage will be drawn to you. Manipulators, egoists, and victims. They sense the blood of kind people. They know how to complain, appeal to pity, evoke guilt, and eventually leave you with nothing but takers. As Seneca said, "He who is used to living at another's expense will never learn to live for himself." Assess your relationships. Are they mutual or one-sided? If you are being used, don't be afraid to cut those ties. You owe nothing in return. Many think, "I do good without expecting anything in return," and it sounds beautiful. But the truth is that any relationship should be reciprocal, not one-sided. Kind people often fall into the trap where their help is taken for granted. They are not thanked, their debts are not repaid, and they are barely noticed. As Epictetus said, "He who gives without measure teaches others not to value his gifts." How can you fix this? Start by guarding your resources. Your time, energy, and emotions are valuable too. You can only give them freely to those who truly deserve them. How can you remain kind without destroying yourself? Learn to set boundaries. Don't be afraid to say no if you feel you are being taken advantage of. Value yourself. If you don't respect your own time, energy, and emotions, others won't either. Don't be afraid to change your circle. True friends won't vanish if you stop being their savior. Help with intention. Kindness is not self-sacrifice, but a conscious choice to help those who genuinely deserve it. As Marcus Aurelius said, live for yourself as well as you live for others. Do good, but don't let goodness turn against you. If you constantly sacrifice yourself for others, are afraid to say no, attract toxic people, and demand nothing in return, your kindness becomes a tool for manipulators. True kindness should never ruin your life. It should be conscious, wise, and balanced. Help, but not at the expense of yourself. Set boundaries, value your time, and surround yourself with those who respect you just as you respect them. As Seneca said, a wise man helps others but does not allow himself to be exploited. If you recognize these mistakes in yourself, it is time to change your situation. Start small. Learn to say no. Stop letting others take advantage of your kindness and start valuing yourself. Please share in the comments if you have ever experienced a situation where your kindness backfired and how you managed it. Your experience might help others. Support this video with a like and subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in analyses on important topics, don't forget to enable notifications so you don't miss new episodes. Thank you for your support, friends. Be kind, but be wise.